Hello everyone, we are from Faculty of Economics and Business, University of Lampung. We are students of Human Research Management class studying in their third semester. We are Group 7. My name is Olinda Calista Yetri.
And my name is Fatimah Azzahra.
And with our lecturer, Dr. Nova Mardiana, SEMM. In this video, we're gonna discuss about pay structure decision.
From the employer's point of view, pay is a powerful tool for furthering the organization's strategic goals. Pay has a large impact on employees' attitudes and behaviors, but important, keep labor costs in check to achieve maximum profit. Salary level decision can be broken into two areas, pay structure and individual pay. Pay level is defined here as the average pay of jobs in organization. Job structure refers to the relative pay of job in an organization. In discussing the consequence of pay decision, it is useful to keep in mind that employees often evaluate their pay relative to that of other employees. Equity theory suggests that people evaluate the fairness of their situations by comparing them with those of other people. Equity theory's main implication for managing employee compensation is that their work attitudes and behavior are influenced by such comparisons. Another implication is that employee perceptions are what determine their evaluation. Two types of employee social comparison of pay are especially relevant in making pay level and job structure decisions. External equity pay comparisons focus on what employees in other organizations are paid for doing the same general job. Internal equity pay comparisons focus on what employees within the same organization, but in different jobs, are paid. Any organization faces two important competitive market challenges in deciding what to pay its employees: product market competition and labor market competition. Organizations must compete effectively in the product market. In other words, they must be able to sell their goods and services at a quantity and price that will bring a sufficient return on their investment. Therefore, product market competition places an upper bound on labor cost and compensation. Essentially, labor market competition is the amount an organization must pay to compete against other companies that hire similar employees. If an organization is not competitive in the labor market, it will fail to attract and retain employees of sufficient number and quality. Because organizations have to compete in the labor market, they should consider their employees not just as a cost but as a resource in which the organization has invested and from which it expects valuable returns. Pay policies and programs are one of the most important human resource tools for encouraging desired employee behaviors and discouraging undesired behaviors.
The advantage of paying above the market average is the ability to attract and retain the top talent available. The disadvantage, however, is the added cost. Efficiency wage theory is a theory stating that wage influence worker productivity. To compete for talent, organizations use benchmarking, a procedure in which an organization compares its own practice against those of the competition, accomplished through the use of one or more pay surveys. It is also necessary to know what those organizations are getting in return for their investment in employees. To find that out, some organizations examine ratios such as revenues or employees and revenues or labor costs. Obtaining a single going rate of market pay is a complex task that involves a number of subjective decisions. It is both an art and a science. The use of rate range permits a company to recognize differences in employee performance, seniority, training, and so forth in setting individual pay. In using pay surveys, it is necessary to make a distinction between two general types of jobs, which are key jobs and non-key jobs. A job structure can be defined as the relative worth of various jobs in the organization based on the type of internal comparisons. We now discuss how such decisions are made. First, job evaluation. Job evaluation is an administrative procedure used to measure internal job worth. Scores can be generated in a variety of ways. Although there are numerous ways to evaluate jobs, the most widely used is the point factor system. Developing a pay structure. At least three pay setting approaches, which differ according to their relative emphasis on external or internal comparisons, can be identified. First, market survey data. It is the approach with the greatest emphasis on external comparisons, is achieved by directly basing pay on market surveys.
Conflict between market pay surveys and job evaluation. How are conflicts between external and internal equity resolved, and what are the consequences? The example of the Vice President of Marketing and Information Technology may help illustrate the type of choice faced. Emphasizing the internal comparison would suggest paying the two VPs in the same. What about emphasizing external comparisons? Two potential problems arise. First, the marketing VP may be dissatisfied. Second, it becomes difficult to rotate people through different VP positions. There is no one right solution to such dilemmas. Each organization must decide which objectives are most essential and choose the appropriate strategy. Monitoring compensation costs. Pay structure influences compensation costs in a number of ways. One frequently used index of the correspondence between actual and intended pay is the compa ratio. Grade compa ratio equal actual average pay for grade or pay midpoint for grade. Globalizations, geographic region, and pay structures. Market pay structures can differ substantially across countries both in terms of their level and in terms of the relative worth of jobs. Geographic location is an important factor for human resources to consider when establishing a pay structure. Participation. Employee participation in compensation decision-making can take many forms. It is important to distinguish between participation by those affected by policies and those who must actually implement the policies. Communication. Communication had a large independent effect on employees' attitudes and behavior. Communication is likely to have other important effects. Employees increasingly have access to salary survey information, which is likely to result in more comparisons and thus a greater need of effective communication.
Problems with job-based pay structures. Job-based pay structures have a number of potential limitations. First, they may encourage bureaucracy. Second, the structure's hierarchical nature reinforce a top-down decision, making an information flow as well as status differentials. Third, involve a tremendous amount of time and cost. Fourth, the job-based pay structure may not reward desired behaviors. Fifth, it may discourage lateral employee movement. In responses to the problems caused by job-based pay structures, some organizations have implemented delayering, or reducing the number of job levels to achieve more flexibility in job assignments and in assigning merit increases. Broader groupings of jobs are also known as broad bands. A second related response to job-based pay structure problems has been to move away from linking pay to jobs and toward building structures based on individual characteristics such as skill or knowledge. Skill-based pay systems seem to fit well with the increased breadth and depth of skill that changing technology continues to bring. Skill-based pay is pay based on the skills employees acquire and are capable of using. Based solely on a cost approach, it would perhaps make sense to try to shift many types of production from a country like Germany to other countries, particularly the new industrialized country. There are several factors to consider. First, instability of country differences in labor costs. Second, skill levels. Third, productivity. Fourth, non-labor considerations. Executive pay. Top executives have a disproportionate ability to influence organization performance, so decisions about their composition are critical. The US government decided it was appropriate to further regulate executive pay in firms receiving government bailout money. The fact that the differential between top executive pay and that of an average manufacturing worker has been described as cheating a trust gap. That is, in employees' minds, a frame of mind that mistrusts senior management intentions, doubts its competence, and resents its self-congratulatory pay.
Government regulation of employee compensation. Equal employment opportunity. Equal Employment Opportunity or EEO regulation prohibits sex and race-based differences in employment outcomes such as pay unless justified by business necessity. Is there equality of treatment in pay determination? Some portion of earning differences arises from difference in legitimate factors: education, labor market experience, and occupation. Adjusting for such factors reduces earning differences based on race and sex, but significant differences remain.
Minimum wage, overtime, and prevailing wage laws. The 1938 Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA, establishes a minimum wage for jobs, which now stands at $7.25 per hour. The FLSA also requires that employees be paid at a rate of 1.5 times their hourly rate for each hour of overtime worked beyond 40 hours in a week. Executive, professional, administrative, outside sales, and certain computer employees' occupations are exempt from FLSA coverage. Non-exempt occupations are covered and include most hourly jobs. Two pieces of legislation, the 1931 Davis-Bacon Act and the 1936 Walsh-Haley Public Contracts Act, require federal contractors to pay employees no less than the prevailing wage in the area.